ladies and guys who like getting some sexy, sexy sex on Tinder. Andy here, author of the best Tinder guide on the internet and world-renowned expert at vagina. This is the Kill You in a Loser show. Let's fucking go. Sat down with Joe from Passion Unchained here, and we had a big chat about how to take better Tinder pictures, how to avoid some of the mistakes that people make when they go out and take pictures, how to relax, how to be able to pose, all that sort of good stuff. Amazing interview. I'll also leave a link in the description to some of his content. He does his own YouTube channel. He's got an Instagram. He offers paid photo shoots if that's something you guys are into. I've actually recommended him to a couple of my coaching clients. He's in Austin. But I think you guys are going to love this interview. A lot of information. Joe's a cool guy. We actually ended up doing 2 interviews, so I'll release the next one in a couple of days. In that second one, we talk about girls flaking, how to have boundaries, how to sort of enforce those boundaries without getting butthurt and needy and all that sort of stuff. So that's a great interview as well. That'll be out in the next couple of days, but enjoy this one on Tinder, guys. Let's get straight into it, big boy. So for those who don't know, you run your own YouTube channel, you run your own Instagram, you have basically a photography business where you help guys, take pictures for their Tinder. And we thought it'd be fun to have you on and talk about, some things that guys get wrong with their Tinder photos, what they fuck up, what they do right, how they can take better Tinder pictures. But I'll blast you with the first question, which is, what do you think is like the number one thing that guys fuck up with their Tinder photos?
Selfies.
I know. I knew you were going to say something like that. I was going to say shitty photos at home. But guys do it, don't they, dude? They'll just grab their fucking phone, pose, put it here, take a photo of themselves and say, is this good enough for Tinder? And you're like, no.
And the thing I would say more specifically, I mean, selfies are bad, but even worse is the mirror selfie.
Yeah, dude.
And even worse is doing a mirror selfie and then taking another one without changing anything, and then taking a third and maybe a fourth for good measure, and then uploading all of them to the same profile.
You joke, but dude, I saw
I don't joke.
There's a chick that we matched with. I could go and grab Imogen's phone and I can't be bothered. Yeah. I'm not going to do that. But this girl that had like 8 photos that were all literally in the same space, like in her bathroom or her bedroom or whatever. And she's wearing the same clothes in every single one. And she's making essentially the same fucking face in every single one. And I think guys see girls doing that. And girls can get away with it because girls will get infinite matches. Like that girl will get maybe 80% of the matches that someone with a great Tinder profile, a woman with a great Tinder profile will get. But for guys, no, it doesn't work like that. If you take selfies in your bedroom, you'll get fucking one match ever. And it will be some chick that maybe you're not super into versus you take some decent pictures. Now you're getting hundreds of matches. So there's a very big like chasm between low quality photos with guys and high quality ones. And I think that is like the number one fucking thing that I see. You're right. It's like a lazy, low effort selfie.
Yeah. And I would say there are a few guys who do the same thing as that girl. I wasn't really joking, but I would say most guys probably know not to do that. And so they'll do one selfie and maybe a mirror. Mirror selfies are very common. Don't do that. That's the biggest mistake.
Yeah. I think the other thing I see is where they will go to that they'll get that they have to go outside the house and they'll understand that they need to use like a decent either a really, really good smartphone or better a DSLR camera or a mirrorless camera. They'll understand that. They will dress well. They understand that. But they'll go to a very boring place and basically lean against the wall and take a photo. There's a guy in the, not to single anyone out, but there's someone in our group coaching program right now who's done exactly that. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. Like literally
I know there was somebody who posted a bunch of photos, but I've been really busy editing photos from clients that have given me money, so I don't have time to review his photos.
Look at this flex right here. But anyway, so this guy just did exactly what I'm talking about. Like a bunch of photos leaning against a wall, and it's like great attempt, good job going and taking the photos, but you have to go somewhere interesting. And you have to pose at least moderately interesting. Yes, you'll be nervous at first. It's difficult to pose. It's something you have to learn, but leaning against a wall and just looking down at your phone or looking, away from the camera in a very boring location, that isn't going to be enough to cut it unless you're ridiculously attractive.
I would say that is definitely a problem. I also would say that I think you're already even if that's your problem, you're already better than most guys out there, because you're
Yeah,
like,
dude.
oh, like they get, you're talking about guys that already know that they should have a quality smartphone or quality DSLR or a mirrorless high-end camera. I would say most guys don't get that far
Mhm.
in their understanding. And it's not necessarily, if you want an average profile, you can get away with like, the phone that you have. But the thing is, if you want to get good matches, with girls on dating profiles, it's unfortunately or fortunately, because it's kind of motivating, the
Mm.
Pareto principle type deal, where the top, it's actually more stark than a Pareto principle. The top people, different people say different things. The top 10% of guys get 90% of the girls. And
Mhm.
that's actually not a bad thing. All you have to do is become one of the top 10% of guys, and then you're good.
Yeah.
Most guys are not that motivated, but the moment you do that, it's hard at first, but it's once you get there, it's actually kind of easy to maintain, and then the world's at your disposal.
Yeah, and I think some people get put off by that. They go like, "Well, I'm getting no matches. Do I have to literally become a god in order to get any matches?" And it's like, "No, no, 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 no. You just have to look better than 90% of guys." And then you might
Mm-hmm.
be thinking, a lot of us have this twisted idea of what 90% of guys look like, especially if you're in a self-improvement community where everybody around you
Yeah.
is trying to be
Yep.
the best person you can be. You have to understand, if you're even watching a self-improvement YouTube channel and following even some of the advice, you're already better than 85% of people outside. You are.
Mm-hmm.
The average person will never even understand the concept of self-improvement, that he could be a better person tomorrow than he is today. A lot of people don't even understand that. I'll say
Yeah.
70% of people outside don't understand that concept, that you're allowed to be better in the future instead of worse. Most people are slowly dying over time and
Mm-hmm.
slowly degrading. And so if you're already into this shit, you're already ahead. If you then take some decent pictures, which really is just a process of going out and taking a bunch of pictures, it's a numbers game. Go out and do 20 photo shoots, and I promise you, you'll have some
Mm-hmm.
good pictures. If you just do that, you're already top 10%.
Yeah.
If you add on
And
top of
even
that
if you're
dressing well,
further
gym, all
away,
of that.
mm-hmm. And even if you're further away, I mean, you did this wasn't an interview with me, but you did an example of where I came from when it comes
Mhm.
to my weight loss. It was you in your video of my weight loss journey. You're like, he went from like a 2 to an 8 or something,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah,
that.
dude.
He said something like that. And so like, if you're a 2, like, don't stress. Like,
Hmm.
you look at me and you're like, oh my God, like I also, if you're cool with it, I want to show my current profile. I just reset my Tinder today.
Sure.
And if you're cool with it, I could show that. But you'll look at me, you'll be like, oh my God, he's so attractive. It's like now, but I was like a 2
Yeah, man.
at one point. So you can become an 8 or whatever
Yeah.
you deem I
Yeah.
am.
It almost isn't even worth looking at how far you have to go. Like, understand everything, like figure out everything you need to change or you want to change, sure.
Mhm.
But don't sit there and go, oh my God, I have to change this and this and this and this, and I'm going to be, below the looks threshold. No one's going to match with me until I fix all this. No, no, no. It doesn't work like that. It's a process of improvement. You lose a bunch of
Mhm.
weight, suddenly you start getting some matches. You start dressing better. Okay, now you're getting more
Yeah.
matches. You take some great photos. Okay, now you're getting even more. You start going outside and
Mhm.
talking to girls in person. Okay, now even more girls are giving you their phone number. It's a gradual process. It's not like you wake up one day and suddenly now I've gone from 0 matches to 100 in a single day. No, 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 no. It's a
Yeah.
it's a scale.
No, no, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I've worked with a few people who are overweight, or
Mhm.
one guy in particular. It's really funny. I had Cam slash Radical here at my. He actually stayed at my house for a couple days.
Mhm.
We've been traveling together since he's in my area. Recently, we've done a couple of videos together. So check out
Mhm.
his channel or my channel if you want to see those. And I was showing him some photos I took for a client, and he's like, "What is he wearing?" And I'm like, I'm like, "Oh my God!" Like I mean, I actually, so I work with Cameron. Some of my clients, I'll actually give them a discounted rate on
Mhm.
working with Cameron, and so they pay me for my shoot and for working with Cameron, and
Yep.
then I give Cameron some money, and then they work with Cameron. And so of course I offered, like, hey, do you want to work with my friend? He's a fashion consultant guy. And uh, he was like, no, I just bought a bunch of clothes. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm expecting him to have like really great
Yep.
stuff. And he comes, and I'm not going to identify who this was. It was sometime in the past 2 months. I'm not going to say who it was because I've released a lot of client stuff, and you can make your own judgment whether you like his fashion or not. But the stuff on my Instagram or whatever. He may or may not be there. I won't confirm or deny. But it's, oh my God, just some of the stuff he wore, I'm like, oh my God. But he's still probably getting more matches because the
Because
photos
he's
are better.
trying. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's like the thing. It's like, sure, he's not maxing himself out, but he's probably doing a lot better than he was with his smartphone photos.
Yeah, dude. And this ties into a greater point. I think a lot of people, again, they see the mountain that they have left to climb. They see all the things they need to change and they get overwhelmed by that. And the thing is, you don't have to be perfect at all of those things. I'm not. I've never really had a ton of muscle.
Yeah.
I've never really been ultra lean. Yeah, look at you. Your body
I
is like
just
10 times
I
better.
just took sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I just took 21 grams of creatine today. I
20
started
grams
taking.
of fucking testosterone right in the dick.
It was I'm like, I'm on edge right now. I'm on edge.
That's not what creatine does.
I don't know what it was, but it felt really good.
Pre fucking workout. But you really don't have to be maxed out in every area. Great if you want to go for that. But, every single one of us who gets to a point where we're happy with our sex life or happy with our dating life, we realize, like, I didn't fix everything. Like, I didn't max everything out. Like, I haven't met a single person that's completely maxed out in every area, like confidence, sense of humor, style, cool lifestyle, body.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of a
Fucking
single
Elon
person
Musk
that's
is
maxed out.
fucking socially weird as hell, and like his body's not amazing, but he's like got richness and fame and like mission, like
And
20
then
out of 10.
flip it. How many guys do you know that, here's a nice way of saying this, their life isn't going as amazingly as it could be. That's a nice way of saying it. But they have a killer body and they get laid a ton. So please don't think that you have to max everything out. You absolutely don't. Same as with your photos. Like, we're going to talk a little bit more about photos. But, like, if you just have a decent baseline of photos, like, and then you sit there and improve them over the next 6 months or a year, you're fucking fabulous. You'll get enough to get some matches, get some date, get some lays, get a girlfriend if that's what you want. The shit doesn't have to be, you don't have to be the alpha male, like the pinnacle. It's maybe what you're aiming for, but I think most guys get halfway there and go, I'm good enough. This is cool. I don't have to spend the next 5 years maxing this out.
Now, our Lord and Savior had a really good, Chris from Good Looking Loser. He he had a really good article about this. I think it was called "Don't Confuse the Top 10% with the Top 0.01%."
Yeah, and people look at the top 0. They look at like the best person that will ever exist, and then think, oh, that's what I have to go for, or I won't get laid. And it's like, no, you could be like 10% of that guy, literally 10%, and that's good enough. Or maybe 80%. Get 80% of the way to him. That's good enough. 50% of the way to him is good enough. In terms of the actual Tinder photos, let's blast through a couple of like quick tips of like how someone can improve their pictures. So maybe you do one, I'll do one.
I would say this is a either or. It depends how much time and money you have. If you have a lot of money and a little bit of time, hire somebody like me. If you have a lot of time and a little money, buy a camera and learn how to take photos.
Yeah. And take a lot of photos. So my tip would be take a shitload of photos. Even if you end up paying a photographer, you're a photographer, there's a ton of other photographers out there. If you end up paying a photographer, make sure that they take a lot of photos. I've seen a couple of photographers that people pay, and they'll go out and they'll take like 30 photos. Like literally they'll only click the button 30 times, and you'll get maybe one decent photo and a bunch of average photos. So I'll make it really fucking clear, whether you pay a photographer or do it yourself, you need to take hundreds of photos every time you go outside. Like if you go outside for one photo shoot, literally take 300, 400, 500 photos.
I do that. I pretty much hold the button down. I have it on high burst mode. So it's eight shots a second. And I'm like doing a ton of photos. A lot of them, like they'll be slightly out of the frame, or like it'll be good, but I can't crop it for the right aspect ratio or something. There'll be enough in there because I've just spammed it. It's like, oh, okay, I got like 5 good ones and like out of like 100. But if I just like been a bit sparse with my trigger finger, it would have only been like none.
It also takes a lot of the pressure off if you spam photos, like literally take hundreds of fucking photos. We really are talking about hold the fucking button down or like click, 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 like go fucking crazy with this shit. If you do that, if you take a lot of photos, it takes a lot of the pressure off because now you're not posing for every single time you click the button. It's more like you're just existing and you're kind of getting into position and you're spamming the shutter button so quickly that you will accidentally get some good photos. Like if I tell you to pose, maybe your jawline is a little too like tense or you're not quite smiling or your smile's a little awkward. Like it's hard to get everything perfect. But if I just keep clicking the button and talk to you or you get into position, that you will accidentally have one where everything just line up. It's like the stars align because remember guys, we're not models. A model, like an actual female or a male model, like a model, if we tell them pose and look good, they know how to adjust every single muscle in their body to get into position. We don't. We're normal human beings. And so it's better to take a lot of photos and you'll accidentally get one where all the stars align, your smile is perfect, your eyes are perfect, your expression is good, your body language is great, nobody is distracting in the background, there's not a car driving past. You really do have to spam this shit. It's the easiest shortcut. Or be a model if you want to, but none of us are, so just spam.
But why male models?
Zoolander reference. Anyone who's watched Zoolander, leave a comment below and tell us why Zoolander is the best movie of all time and why the second one was a fucking big disappointment.
I did not see the second one, so I cannot comment.
Don't.
Okay.
Halfway through, you'll just see it didn't have the heart of the first one. The first one had a lot of heart. They weren't fully mocking Zoolander. Like they were, but it was also like a loving movie. Like they loved whoever made the movie. Clearly they loved the character of Zoolander. Yeah, it was like very genuine. Like it's like Forrest Gump, but funnier.
Ernest. Yeah, like you're mocking Ernest, but at the same time, like he's like you have a heart for him. Like he's
you want to see him win. You want to see Zoolander win. And by the way, the victory of Zoolander is not him overcoming his brainwashing; it's him turning left. That's like the whole movie. You know, he's like, I can't turn left, and finally he does turn left at the runway. That's the victory moment, and it's kind of glossed over, and I love it, that movie. Anyway, back on track, big boy.
You don't always have to be right.
I like that.
Sometimes you can be left.
I like that. Okay, so back on topic. Another tip that I would give is do the things that help you relax. So, you know, obviously take hundreds of photos that will help you relax, but, you know, do a bit of deep breathing. Have a chat with the person who's taking your photos. Or if you're taking photos yourself, listen to some music or something first. You know, crack some jokes. One of my favorite fucking things to do, and YouTube's going to cancel me when I say this, but I don't care. One of my favorite things to do when I'm taking photos to someone else is I'll sit there and I'll be clicking the button, I'll hold it down and take a bunch of photos, right? And I'll be sitting there taking photos. And no matter how much I try and get the person to relax, they can't. Because we've just started taking photos, they're nervous, they want this to go well, they've likely never been in front of the camera, they're feeling self-conscious, people are walking around, all of that shit. And so my trick to get a good photo is as I'm holding the button down, and as they're posing, and remember their heart's on the line, they're really vulnerable, they're feeling insecure and all that, I'll be holding the button down and I'll like pop my head out of the camera and I'll go like, man, you look like such a faggot right now. As I'm holding the button down, and every single time, because they're so tense and they're so worried about not looking good and all that, and I've just like confirmed their biggest fears, but in the most hilarious way ever, something they were never expecting me to say, because I'm the professional photographer, every single person loses it. Yeah. Every single person cracks the fuck up and completely fucking loses it. And big, great smile. Like it's always the most amazing, candid shot ever. And then even better, they can now relax for the rest of the shoot. So you don't have to call yourself a faggot or you don't have to ask the photographer to call you a faggot. But and now I've said faggot like 6 times, definitely getting canceled. But what you can do is crack some jokes and have a conversation and make this a more like normal thing. It's just 2 people hanging out, or if you're doing it by yourself, you're just listening to some podcasts, you're just chilling, taking a bunch of photos, like take that pressure off that this has to be like a professional, perfect shoot. So that's my question to you. I'm going to throw it to you. What do you do to help your clients relax when they're sitting there and they're, you know, all tense and they can't pose?
I punch them in the face.
Oh, big one.
No, I'm kidding. So this is actually funny. There's a client I had recently. I like to drive them around in my car because if we have like 2 cars, then it gets confusing. There have been a couple clients who insisted like we drive around in their car or like we take different cars. And it's like, okay, like, you know, I'm not going to force you to go in my car, but most clients are cool with it, even if they have their own car. And so he hopped in my car. And he was saying like, I'm so nervous. I've never been in front of the camera. And I'll first tell them like most of my clients have never been in front of the camera, which is 100% true. And then what I'll do is I'll make it like half like we're hanging out and half like I'm a
Yep.
professional photographer.
Yep.
And so I'm just joking. I'm just letting them open up. And like like a little bit after our first, like as we were taking photos, he was like, man, like I'm really having fun here. Like he kept
Yeah.
saying like throughout the whole shoot, he's like, yeah, I'm really having fun. Like I didn't expect this. I was so nervous and I'm just having a lot of fun. Like, thanks. I really appreciate it.
So for guys who are going out to do a photo shoot, maybe you're doing it with a photographer, or maybe you're doing it by yourself. Let's do those separately. If you're going out with a photographer, what I would suggest is you first of all find a photographer that's willing to give you a reasonable amount of time. Do not go with a photographer that says, all right, you have 1 hour with me. No, that's too much pressure. Don't go and see a photographer who has a time limit on how much time they'll spend with you. It's just too much pressure. Unless it's fine if they say something like, I'm going to, we'll go out for like 2 or 3 hours. Fine, that's fine. But don't go with a photographer who charges you per the hour. It's too much stress for you. It means you have to be too perfect. You're just going to be conscious of the time. It's not a good environment for relaxing. And then on top of that, I would find a photographer that's like fairly chill in the way they respond to their messages or the way they talk to you. If they seem like a cool person, yeah, fucking great. Because now you can actually have that chance to sort of talk as you do the photo shoot. And to some extent, some of this you'll only figure out as you actually go and do the photo shoot. You can't 100% screen for a good photographer. Like part of it is actually doing it. Just like you can't 100% screen for the girl that you want. You have to kind of go on a date 1st. So fine. But that goes a long way to finding a good photographer. Someone who's chill, someone who won't limit their time or who won't put an hourly limit on it, and someone that you feel you can connect to. And a lot of that will need to come from you as the person getting photographed. Like you need to literally start some conversations. And you can even say, like the client you're talking about has, or a couple of your clients, hey, I'm really nervous. Like initiate that. Literally say, I'm really nervous. I love the clients who tell me they're nervous because I'm like, cool, we can fucking fix that now, dude. Let's have a chat. So please be very vocal and honest if you're nervous. Tell them if you've never done a photo shoot before. Tell them like, hey, I kind of need you to hold me by the hand. I don't know how to pose. I feel awkward. If you feel self-conscious, say, I feel like I can't relax. If you worry that other people are looking, say, I'm worried that other people are looking. Like give your photographer the chance to fix that. And if you're doing photos by yourself, do what my advice that I give for almost anything, be okay with kind of sucking at the start because you won't have anyone there to make you feel better. You're doing it by yourself. You're going to feel self-conscious. You're going to worry that other people are looking. You don't have someone to immediately give you feedback and be like, no, dude, like you need to pose differently. Put your arm down. Like you don't have that immediate feedback. So you have to be okay with your photos sucking a little bit. And the answer is like, go and take a shitload of photos. Like keep practicing, take a lot more photos. But yeah, really just embracing that idea that it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to kind of suck at the start. And you're going to improve with practice, like everything.
Very true. Very true. Some solid advice there. You cool if I share my screen and show my Tinder profile?
Show it, and then I will show mine as well. What the hell? You show me yours, I'll show you mine.
All right, cool. So here we are. So this one is of me with my lens and in front of a wall. I actually hired another dating profile photographer for that one.
Nice.
This is one thing I've been experimenting is putting one, not more than one, but putting one smartphone photo in my lineup. I know a lot of people who swear by it, especially because a lot of people kind of think I'm fake because like my photos are really nicely done.
DSLR photos, yeah.
Yeah. So this one makes them be like, oh, okay, this guy's like normal. He's not a catfish. I did edit it a little bit.
Verification helps with that as well. You've got your little blue tick down there. So if any of you, this happens every now and then. You'll go and do a bunch of really good photo shoots with a proper professional camera. The photos look like you're almost, like a model. You don't have to actually be as attractive as a model, but it looks like you're doing modeling photos. They look almost fake. And so it's worth verifying your profile, like literally verifying it.
Yep. Like if I had this photo, which I just put out, I guess you can't I'm not logged in. Yeah, this is a photo someone else took of me. Yeah, I edited it. That one looks extremely posed and fake because I did that on purpose. Like it was supposed to be like a modeling style shoot, and I edited it like a extreme way so it looks super fake because it's a model shoot, like it's a model photo. That's not what I would do on dating for my clients at all. You can actually see some of my clients like
Yeah,
Some
more
of
like
these are
chilled
not. Some
sort
of
of
these,
natural photos.
yeah, some of these are not dating profile clients. Some of these are just like lifestyle photo clients, but they're very
Hmm.
similar to what I would do for dating profile. Anyway, so it's like a
Yeah,
that one, like is I can't like click on it, but that's extremely casual. It's like him just picking something out and like fucking
and and that's
Whole
exactly
Foods.
what we're talking about when we say take a bunch of photos. Go back to that photo that you were showing.
Yeah, this one.
So the one on the left, yeah. So you literally just followed this guy around taking a bunch of photos, clearly.
Yep.
And every now and then you get like a funny expression or something like that. That's what we're talking about when we say take a bunch of photos. So if you pay a photographer, tell them, I literally want you to spam and take photos even when we're not doing the photos. That's one of the main things
Mhm.
that I do. I know you do it too. When I'm out
Yep.
on a photo shoot, I will literally just spam the fucking camera. Like they could be talking to me about something, unrelated, and I'll just be spamming the photo, and they'll be like, "Are you taking
Mhm.
photos?" And I'll be like, "Yeah," because some
100%.
of these will look good. Like you accidentally get some good photos. And again, if you're just taking photos of
Yeah.
yourself, like take a bunch of photos. Literally hold the fucking button down, or you can program it in most cameras to take consecutive photos, like one
Mhm.
photo every half second or something. Just do that. And then even as you're moving into position for the next pose, some of those photos when you're transitioning from pose to pose will actually look better than the ones where you sat there and posed because you're more relaxed, you're more chilled, you're like caught in that cool, carefree kind of moment. So I love that photo.
100%. 100%. So that's this one. I did edit it slightly to up the shadows and everything. I don't want to make everything look super edited for dating profile photos. That one looks more edited than a lot of them, but and that one definitely does. But that was a stylistic choice because it's a gym shot. Anyway, point is, cute photo, dog is always a plus, and it's
Mhm.
really casual. Then there's this gym photo, um, where I'm showing off my vascularity on my arms.
Muscles.
Um, yeah, and those veins right there. It's a bit intense. I actually gained 15 pounds from there, and I'm losing that currently back on a cut, but I'll be there very shortly. And plus, I
Hmm.
started creatine. I'm in a loading phase, so I'm excited about that. There's a really see, some of these are really edited, and that's because it's like a stylistic choice.
Hmm.
This is me in my Halloween costume. Shout out to anyone who knows who I am portraying.
Hint, Quentin Tarantino. That's your
Yes,
hint.
and there's a huge hint. There's a very large hint, but yeah, if you've seen that movie, you'll know who I am. And that one's like a good one. People tell me they like it. This one is one of me hanging out with a friend,
Hmm. Perfect.
and yeah, social shots are always good. Especially
Yep.
even that's another thing. Even if it's with a girl, as long as you're not like making out with her or like feeling up her
Doing something
breasts
too
in the photo.
coupley as well. I'd be conscious of doing things that are too coupley,
Yeah.
like you look like boyfriend, girlfriend. I make
Hmm.
that clear when I say if you have a photo of you and a girl, make it look like, you're at a club or something and she's got her arm around you. Like where it's like she could
Yep.
be a friend or she could be a friends with benefit, but she's not like your girlfriend and you're not holding hands and staring into each other's eyes or something romantic.
Yep. Even you and in your profile, where you have pictures with Imogen, like she is your girlfriend, but you don't want the girls to feel excluded when they
Yeah.
match with you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can't be. And I see we can stop screen sharing and I'll screen share my shit because I'll show you the
Yeah.
photo that we're talking about here. So the photo that we're talking about is the one up in the top right with Imogen.
Yep.
But she looks sexy. We're clearly out on night on the town. Now, this would be a terrible photo if we were both looking at each other into each other's eyes. Then it starts to look like a coupley photo. So you want it to look, if you are going to have a photo with a girl, which you can if you want to, you don't have to if you don't want to. But if you are, make it more like this. Or you're both in the middle of a club and she's kissing you on the cheek or something. But like, try not to. You guys know what we're talking about here. Try not to make it look like
Mhm.
you're a couple. Try to make it look like you're just a guy and a girl who maybe fuck or maybe you're friends or whatever stuff like that. I'll quickly run through my profile. I've talked about my profile a million times. I've done a million articles on it. If you want to look at more of this, go to killyourinaloser.com and just search for my Tinder profile, and I have a full write-up of why I have the profile I have. But basically, we have a picture of me with abs. We have a couple of BDSM pictures, because that's obviously what I'm into. A picture of my girlfriend, another BDSM picture, one of me at the gym lifting some weights, a cute little photo of me with a cat, and then some silly art photos because, I do photography and
Meow.
art and stuff like that. Very good rendition of a cat. But this profile works because of
I
the
was a
clear
cat in a
BDSM.
former life.
Shh, don't interrupt the host. That's rule 101 of podcasts, sir. Clearly I'm into BDSM, very sexual vibe, And then you have some fun, sort of more laid back photos, me with the girl, me with the cat, me with art. This profile served me pretty well. I'm in the process of upgrading. I actually have upgraded it. I just haven't updated this website, or this article, I should say, but that works. So you don't have to do BDSM. You can if you want to. But even Joe's profile is absolutely fucking perfect because, he's got the pictures, high quality pictures, a nice picture of him on the couch with a dog, picture with friends. Yeah. And obviously you're very attractive. I think that needs to be thrown in there. I'm sure there'll be people that'll be like, you're very attractive, sir. And it's like, yeah, go and watch the video. And I'll leave a link in the description below to the video where I talked about your weight loss. And, you'd lost like something crazy, like 100 pounds or 70 pounds or something fucking insane. I think it was 100 pounds. And so you weren't always attractive. Yeah, you weren't always attractive. So please,
and
guys,
actually,
don't make the
I
excuse.
found photos of me, like the photo that you have there. I believe that's I didn't realize it's after I already lost 25 pounds. It's not my worst.
Even chubbier. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I found a worse photo, but I don't have it's on like somebody else's profile. Somebody posted a photo of me. What was I gonna say? Damn, it was important.
Couldn't have been that important.
Oh, also one of the big things is that I, at one point, like, I didn't really have a goal of being lean until I actually read your article about how fat loss matters above all else. I believe that's the thing. And I definitely have found that that's all true. But for a while, I was just hovering at like stocky. I wasn't lean. Wasn't fat. I was like, you could easily call me husky or stocky. And I had a lot of success at that weight. For those of you who don't know, my leg count is in the triple digits. I don't like to say that just because this shows that I have experience. I don't really like sharing my leg count that much. I think it's kind of, nothing against anyone who does. I just personally don't like, it makes me feel kind of like cheap or weird. But just to show that I have a lot of experience, and most of that, I would say probably the majority of that was before I was, definitely the majority of that, because like I was lean the past couple of years. The vast majority of that was when I was stocky. So I had, and about half of them were from online dating. So I have had like 50 girls while being stocky, and all from online dating. So like, if you're like, that's a really good example of why, yes, the more lean you get, the better. Obviously don't get to like 3% body fat, because some girls at that point will think you look freaky, but get to like 10 if you can. But if you're not at a place, if you're at like, I don't know, 20 or 25 even, like you can still get some amazing success.
Yeah, of course.
I did. And if you try, then you can too.
Yeah, please don't think that you have to be perfect with all this shit. I think that I'd like that to be the running theme of this podcast. Please don't think you have to be perfect. You really don't. We're giving you a couple of ways you can take better pictures, a couple of ways you can improve yourself. But the number one thing I want to leave people with here is go outside and take a bunch of fucking photos. Either with a paid professional, by yourself, doesn't matter. Take a bunch of photos. You're going to suck at the start. That's okay.
I had to take a bunch of photos. Yeah. I think you said on a podcast with Brandon, you're like, I can tell him this now because he's really good now, but he sucked at first.
Your photos were awful at the start. Yeah, so were mine. If you go back and look at me when I first was a photographer, like back in 2012, I was fucking trash. I was trash at this shit. I was so abysmally bad. It was like disgusting how poor I was. But like everybody's shit at the start. You get better with practice. So go out there.
And I remember like
a bunch of photos.
I shot with my assistant, who I mentioned before, who we both know. And I would do this thing where I'd like shot it at an angle. I'm like, ooh, it's artsy. It's cool. And then he would get so mad at me. He's like, Joe, why are you doing that? Just like shoot it straight up and down. Jesus Christ. And I'm like, no, it's artsy and it's cool. And like now looking at those photos, I'm like,
all the horrible shit that you did. Yeah. Underexposing photos because you thought it was better if everything was dark. Yeah.
And have like people have like harsh shadows on like half their face, and I'm like, oh, that's fine, I'll fix it in post. It's like, you can't really fix that in post.
Yeah But that all improves with taking more photos. So that's the main message. Gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that interview. I'll leave a link in the description below to Joe's channel. He's got a YouTube channel. He does photography. He's got an Instagram, all that sort of stuff. I have actually recommended him to a few of my clients. He lives in Austin, Texas. So I've actually recommended him to a few of my guys to go and do photo shoots. He does a pretty fucking stellar job. So I hope you guys like this interview. Adios.